This is your 2021 Toyota Camry. This is specifically the XSE, so it's the sporty trim. And for those who may not know, anything with an S on it is deemed sporty, and anything with an L is deemed more on the luxurious side. So I really like the front end of the XSE, and only the XSE gets this cool front end. It's just much more sculpted, it's more aggressive, it's more pronounced, and just a particular favorite for me is how this part just dips just down a little bit to house the bottom of the Toyota logo. It looks exceptionally sharp. Lots of black here. The only option on this vehicle is the red paint. Everything else you see throughout the review will be standard fare. These are, I don't mind it. Because the rest of the front end looks so aggressive, I don't mind these big pieces of plastic here. It's got this nice honeycomb pattern here, and it kind of follows it along here, so there's definitely some symmetry. Lighting assembly, full marks Toyota. These are your day runners, and it looks so cool with the 3 different L-shaped patterns, and you have your nice LED turn signal here and your LED headlight. So full LEDs here, it looks really sharp, just very well placed. The rims, I'm not a big fan of multi-spokes. Like 5-spoke is the nice classic and clean look for me, but these look really good with the XSE overall. I don't mind that there's way more than 5 spokes, but it still looks sharp. Big perk here is how they've integrated the turn signal into the side mirror. Usually it's like kind of all the way across here, but it's just this nice thin little strip, and it faces outwards as well. So people beside you, as well as people behind you, maybe in your blind spot, will be able to see your turn signal. Body color door handles, always a smart move here. So going around to the rear, one of the standout features of the XSE on the exterior, in addition to the front end, is the deck lid spoiler. And it's pretty small, it's not really noticeable, but it does add a nice cool touch to the vehicle overall. Nice LEDs around the rear, nice wraparound tail light assembly, and again, the LED turn signals looks really sharp. I love the quad tailpipes. It just looks so, it's a nice finishing move, and the XSE has it, the XLE does not, and it just has a really nice aggressive look to the rear. Here's a bit of a quirk. If you want to unlock the trunk, it is at the end of the word Camry, and if there was another letter here, that's where it would be. I'll give you a quick look so you can see where the Y, where the Y in Camry ends, and that is your trunk release. So there's a look at your trunk. There is my shadow. There's a snow brush because it's Canada, and you just never know sometimes. So a little over 400 liters of cargo space, a little portion off to the left, portion off to the right, and all good. Oh, another bonus thing here is that it's on hydraulics. So I will do that again for you. Just pop it open, and you'll see it opens all the way. It just doesn't release and kind of dangle there. Start with the rear seats of the Camry. The rear door does not open all that much. Like, it's still a decent amount, but it is far from a 90-degree angle, and there's a good look at it right there, but no issues getting in. My seat all the way up, all the way back. There is lots of leg room for me here. I'm gonna sit down and look at all that space for my knee. The passenger seat is all the way up, so there is a mountain of space for your rear passenger on the passenger side. It's unreal. Like, look at all that space. And just to give you a quick look, this is presuming you don't have anybody in the front seat, because, well, there is next to no leg room there for them. A couple of vents back here. There's a quick look up front. And speaking of up front, before we jump in there, panoramic sunroof, standard fare here. Again, everything you see on the inside is standard as far as the XSE goes. So let's quickly jump out. And I know it doesn't open 90 degrees, but there's still plenty of room for you to get in and out without any issues. There's another quick look at the front from the point of view of the driver just about to get in. I really love this. This is a huge perk for me. So it says Camry on the skid plate, and it's reflective, and there's this cool dull pattern, but it's actually encased in a little piece of plastic. So it looks like it's raised from here, but it's covered. So I think that's a really nice, innovative move. Let's talk about the seats. They're very comfortable. The side bolsters, not really all that thick. It's still comfortable and keeps your legs in place. Side bolsters, again, not especially thick as opposed to some other Toyota models, but the seats are very comfortable. And you get this cool little insert here. We'll call it a perk. I have no issues with that. All right, let's take a look inside. When you start the vehicle, start-stop button is in its regular place, which is right there. Check out the cool graphic. Give it a second. So it says Camry in red, and then it goes into white. So you get 2 analog dials, and you get a digital screen in the middle, and same as almost all other Toyotas, very easy to read. And you're gonna run through this section here. to change all of your different pieces of information as to what you want. Standard fare. I really like how the needles are red. They really are easier to read at night. I know red's a bit of a darker color, but with the white numbers and fonts, it really stands out quite a bit. Heated steering wheel, same as other Toyotas, unheated. So it's just the left and right side that's heated. Here's a big irk for me. I don't care that there's blanks. I care that the heated steering wheel is all the way here, gas release and trunk release. Because if you're looking at the steering wheel like I am, camera's pretty much right by my face. All you can see with a clear line of sight is the automatic high beams and your traction control on and off, two of the least used buttons. So I think it was a bit of a blunder on Toyota's behalf to put them out of sight. Like even moving over, you only catch the first three, you gotta spin the wheel and then you can see the rest of them there. What I would have done, I would have put the gas release all the way here because you use that at least once a week. I would have put the trunk release here, and I would have put the heated steering wheel here and the automatic high beams and traction control way off to the right side because again, you rarely use them. 9-inch screen, easy to use, typical Toyota. No issues at all as far as extracting information. You have nice banks of hard touch buttons flanking the outsides of the screen. So I don't know, let's go to menu. And then we'll go to setup. It's pretty responsive overall. Let's get rid of the beep. And that's it. We go to the theme setting and let's go red to match the dashboard. So it's pretty easy to use. I wouldn't say it lags. There's like a blink of hesitation, but that's really it. Hard touch, or sorry, actual dials for your volume and your tune. Really nicely done. Smart to have the four-way flashers slash hazards right in the middle. It is impossible to miss. You get your heating system, and the weird thing for me is I love symmetry. This is definitely not symmetrical at all because you can see it swipes and swoops all the way down, and then you have that part. So yeah, it kind of just comes in together, but and I know why they can't have it right in the middle. Just, I don't know, it looks a little off for my need for symmetry. I'm gonna put it in drive for a sec to get some space here. Here's the biggest perk of the interior. The wireless tray slides, and yes, you can still have a phone in there when it slides. You get some storage in there. Nice move, just push it forward. And yeah, I think that's one of my, if not my favorite feature of the interior of the XSE, and you get some power sources, and smartly Toyota has made them coverable so you don't get any dirt or dust or any nonsense in there. Driving modes, Eco, Normal, Sport. I wish it was more pronounced. Let's take a look at the bottom. Actually, look at the middle of your screen, 16 degrees D. Just a little tiny red line for Sport, nothing for Normal, little green line for Eco. I don't know, own it. Just lots of red, lots of green. Anyways, heated seats are here. I don't mind it here. I would have rather had it a little closer up so I'm not having to reach around on this side, but there's a nice little rectangle for it and it fits perfectly in there. Aside from that, that pretty much wraps up the interior, well laid out. I don't care for the piano black, but it's hardly touched, which is why you don't see any fingerprints on it. Like obviously I just touched it now to show you, but even when you're playing with the vents, you just touch that middle piece. And everything else is a hard touch button or a dial. On the road with the 2021 Toyota Camry, there's three powertrains. There's the V6, there's a 4-cylinder, and there's a hybrid option. We're gonna stick with the 4-cylinder because that's what I have here. So it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, obviously, engine. Interesting note, the XSE, which is what I'm in now, gets 205 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. All of the non-XSE trims with the 2.5 liter engine get 202 horsepower. So you do get a marginal 3 horsepower bump with this specific XSE trim. And yes, this is the all-wheel drive model, so it is front-wheel drive biased. As soon as the system notices that there's a loss of traction or when you need it, when you need the all-wheel drive to kick in, it kicks in and it puts as much as 50% of power to the rear wheels, so it's a nice even split. As far as driving dynamics go, the Camry is a cruising vehicle through and through. I will stand by that statement. Once you're up to your speed, whether it's city speeds or highway speeds, the Camry is so quiet and is so smooth. And it's not quite Lexus quality smooth and quiet, but it is very, very close. My small irk is that it's a little loud and noisy when you're getting up to speeds and your revs run up a little high. Sure, you can be a lot lighter on the acceleration, but you don't want to cause a collision with the person behind you. thinking you're going faster or just anticipating something that's going or not going to happen. Lots of stability in the ride. It's a sedan, so it has lower center of gravity, and I find that it hugs the road much more comfortably than an SUV would. Very little oversteer, very little understeer, at least in my week of driving through 511.6 kilometers to date. Parking forwards or in reverse or parallel, for that matter, is done quite easily. Toyota does have 2 different settings on the backup camera in your large 9-inch infotainment system. So depending on how you want your backup camera to look, you do have a couple of options. Let's take a quick spin into the fuel consumption world. So on 55 liters of regular 87 octane fuel, we are at 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.0 on the highway, and our blended total comes out to 8.4. Not too bad. I'm at 8.3 through mostly city driving. So the Camry does pretty well as far as my real world experiences, and I don't go extra aggressive on my driving, and I don't play it extra cautious either. I drive like I normally would to try and get the most accurate impressions from my full week of driving. We do have Toyota's Safety Sense 2.5 Plus. That's a bit of an irk. Just call it Safety Sense 3. The 2.5 is enough without having to add the plus in there. And basically what that gets you is your automatic high beams, your lane departure alert, your radar cruise control, your lane trace assist, and your pre-collision system. You also get standard out of the box for the XSE trim, blind spot monitoring, as well as rear cross traffic alerts. So you pretty much get everything that you need for day-to-day driving. And I've said it once, twice, dozens of times. I'm a big fan of Toyota making so many things standard on the safety side. Like that $17,000 Corolla I drove a few months ago had all the safety suite of safety systems, that every other Toyota gets because it's standard fare. And it's such a smart move by Toyota to do that. The infotainment system is very easy to navigate. It's very easy to reach. So I'm sitting in my normal spot, and you can see I'm touching the top of the screen, which means I can easily get to all of the controls without having to lean forward or kind of move over to the middle. It's centered and everything is right where it should be. As far as visibility goes, lots of clear sight lines here, nice wide windshield. The standard panoramic sunroof, well done Toyota, thank you so much for that. It's a gray roof liner, but having a lot more light come in through the massive panoramic roof definitely helps open the feeling of the cabin up more than it would just either without a sunroof or with a single panel one. So I think that the practical side of me would opt for this specific XSE 2.5 trim. The want for a spirited drive would lean me towards the XSE V6. I don't know, Toyota, if you want to drop off both cars for a year and let me make a decision after a long-term test, I would have no objections to that at all. Another small irk I have is there are simply too many models offered. There's 14 of them, and to me that's too many between the hybrid and the 2.5 and then the V6. I know sedans aren't dead. I know they're not as strong as they used to be, and there might be a resurgence of them, but I think having 14 different variants, it's just too much. And what I think will happen with Toyota being so heavily invested into the world of hybrids, I think that they may do with the Camry what they've done with the Sienna. Maybe not this year, maybe in time for the next generation, but I think they might just make it all hybrid. I don't see a problem with that, and I would welcome that change. V6s are slowly going away, and it's turbo 4s or just regular 4s that are taking over now. That's going to wrap it up for the 2021 Toyota Camry review. If you've got any questions on the vehicle, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to get you answers as soon as possible. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to tell somebody about the channel who you think may be interested in watching what I do. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I really, really do appreciate it. Be well, be healthy, be safe, and I will see you in the next video.